Welcome to La Nova Mobilitat, today from eMobility Expo World Congress in Malaga, second day. Yesterday we had the first day, it was a really intensive one.
Yeah, what was the highlight yesterday? Apart from the party. I just came this morning, so I missed that. It was really a pity, but what was...
Yeah, we missed you yesterday
really?
at the party.
Okay.
It was really interesting. Beside the leadership summit, which it was taken at lunch, there was a lunch. We have seen a lot of electrification. We have seen old friends from La Nova Mobilitat. We have seen the founder of Silence, Carlos Sotelo. Silence, who is a motorcycle manufacturer in Barcelona. Electric manufacturer in Barcelona with swapping batteries and also doing light electric vehicles. Exactly. We have been discussing this with Carlos Sotelo and also with Rafael Mateo, the new CEO of Acciona Silence. And that was a really interesting how to manufacture this kind of light electric vehicles from Spain, let's say. And also we have been talking to Armando Hernandez, who's a very interesting guy who is in the cluster for light mobility, micro-mobility, pushing for the certification of scooters, of electric scooters, which are having some regulation problems today in Spain. Since 2026, from January, they have to have an insurance like they are like cars almost, in order to be ridden or to drive on the roads.
Cool. So it looks like I missed cool stuff, Martí.
Yeah,
so Luis, you were the first to arrive. So to put our flag here.
Exactly.
What was your experience here?
No, I mean it was like the first part of the event. It was the presentation, the inauguration of the show, with some of the people from the government, from Jaime Alguersuari, people from the
organization.
From the organization, exactly. But I think we have the focus on the day of today.
Today is the hot day.
It's the pushing day. Is the day that we are going to use the radio set, where we are going to do some cool interviews to different parts, because it's a very big event. So it's not just mobility. It's cars, it's planes, it's autonomous vehicles. It's a lot of things. Today I'm going to speak with a lot of people from the world of motorsports. So it's gonna be really cool. People from Formula E, like Alberto Longo, from FIM, Dominique Hébrard, or the president, which is Jorge Viegas, or even Jaime Alguersuari. We have the opportunity to speak with him, and I really want to know that connection between motorsport and mobility. And let's see, because it's going to be a hard day, but really cool day for sure.
Cool stuff. So that's really exciting lineup we have. In the afternoon, we have a highlight, maybe like the most VIP that we have interviewed at La Nova Mobilitat. Maybe. Yeah. So we'll have Carlos Tavares.
Yes, we have Carlos Tavares, the ex-CEO of Stellantis, and we will talk, let's say, about the current situation of automobility, of the vehicle manufacturers, especially the European ones, and how they are struggling with this Chinese competition, this hard. Let's see what Carlos tells us, but that wouldn't be the only thing what we are going to talk about.
Yeah, so like Luis is focusing on motorsport, you're focusing in decarbonization. I take more like the digital and logistics automation part. So on decarbonization, what are we going to learn today, or with whom are we going to talk, Martí?
I can say we are
Xavier Jiménez,
or José Jorge
Espigallard
from Eurecat. We're going to talk about new battery technologies. We're going to talk about hydrogen. We have seen yesterday Xavier Rivas and Mario Canet, two old friends from La Nova Mobilitat, talking about several hydrogen solutions as electrification ones. And today we're going to take a look into different technologies with different people who are going to explain us how to get this sustainable mobility.
On the digitalization and logistics, I'm looking forward to attend the talk of Roland Fadrani. He will talk about how we use data in the advances that we have in AI, how to leverage data for mobility and for logistics. And then later on there will be a panel with Sam Barendregt about their model and the simulations, the digital twin and simulations they do for logistics automation and how this can help these new technologies. And then also with Mariluz Villamor, also on the full end-to-end process of logistics automation. So really exciting day. It's going to be a full day. We'll learn a lot, and we'll bring all of this to you, so that to get all these technologies closer to you. So have
Let's
a great
go.
day.
See you in a bit. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bueno, pues bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio aquí en la Nova Mobilitat desde eMobility Show. And today and right now with Dominique Hébrard. Are you from Germany, right?
No, France.
France?
Yes.
Okay. Who is Dominique and why motorbikes?
So I am Dominique Hébrard. I am the director of the FIM Technical and Safety Department of the FIM. I'm also FIM MotoGP technical director. And so I'm in charge of basically all the department in terms of technical development and safety development. Speaking more about safety, about riders' equipment, helmets, airbags, laser suits, and so on. And why motorbikes? I think it's simply passion.
Okay.
Passion. So I love two wheels, and I did so far all my career in it. Before I was working for Suzuki team in Endurance World Championship. Now I'm working since 2019 for the FIM. I'm super happy to be able, to bring something to the FIM and to help for the development of the future regulation of the bikes, the motorbikes of the future, and also to protect the riders as best as we can on track.
We have a really interesting question. I'm going to skip the first 6 ones.
Okay.
What does a technical director do? What do you do as a safety responsible for people who ride bikes? No? What is the main thing you have to do? Or
Okay, so as a film technical director nominated on the FIM competitions, basically what we have to do, our main mission is to ensure fair and safe competition for everyone, for all competitors. So basically speaking about the fairness, of course we check the conformity of the bikes. In each FIM discipline you have technical regulations to ensure that the bike is compliant in terms of engine capacity, aerodynamic, fuels, and so on. So you have many points. So basically one of our mission is to ensure that the bike is compliant and according to the rules. Also if we have to open engines or to do some technical controls after the races, of course. Speaking about safety, let's say we are working a lot on the riders' equipment. So we launched in 2026 the FIM Phase 2 homologated helmet to protect even better the riders during a crash. We are working also on the FIM homologated airbags with the laser suits. So it's a global I would say chain of protective equipment. We speak about airbags, about laser suits, about helmet, about gloves, about boots, about the chest back protector. And then we are working with the industry to always improve the level of protection, active like airbag or passive, of our riders on track, because we don't want to see an injured rider when they crash. And of course, crash is part of the game, part of the race. However, we want them, at the end, I think everyone wants to go back safe at home. And this is also our mission on the safety side. So we like when everyone quits the event and can go back home safely.
No problems, exactly.
Exactly.
What have you learned from motorsports and that you have applied to your personal life?
Wow. In my, let's say, in my position in the FIM, it's always, let's say, to give the best. What I mean is that even if we are working with for the FIM, the International Federation of Motorcycling, I think in the heart, let's say we are all competitors, and we want to give the best. The reality, before I was in a team, Now I'm working for the FIM, but basically the mindset still exactly the same. So meaning always to give the best, to work very closely with the motorcycle manufacturer, with the industry, with the riders, with the team managers, with the promoters, to always be able to deliver the best possible performance in what we are doing. I mean, we love racing, but racing, the reality is that it's always to push yourself to the limit in terms of performances, and that's what I love in this world and in this job.
And do you think that, I mean, from 1 to 10, it's going to be like a tough question, but we all, I think if we go to a circuit, we really love to hear like the motorbike, to see a show, to really enjoy, motorsports.
Yes.
From 1 to 10, which would be your points for the combination between sound and show? What do you think?
That's a good one. Because I'm working since 2021 on the sound reduction program in off-road,
Okay.
MXGP, MX2, because the reality is that we have to find the right balance between the show and also to protect our sports. So, and I think now in MXGP we have the right balance. So reduce a little bit the sound of the bikes to protect, let's say, the racetracks with the local authorities. But I think it's a global balance. Speaking about the show, I think it's part of the show. That is the reality. Even myself, even if I'm many weekends on the racetracks, it's always a pure emotion. And when you feel the sound, the vibrations of the bike, it's like what we love. So I will say 7, 8. Yeah. Between 7 and 8. Because what I understand, is that when someone visits, for example, MotoGP, what is absolutely crazy is the sound of the bike, even Moto2 and Moto3, Maybe too high, so we are working also with the promoter to reduce slightly, the level of the sound level of the bikes. However, I think it's always a right balance, between the show for the fans, for the spectators, and the performance of the bike. And I'm sure that we can have very good show, battle on tracks, even if we are producing little bit less noise. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna check because we have like 5-10 minutes. Okay. The microphone, no problem.
Got you.
I have, wow, class. Of course, this is really cool because we are going to the future, eco-fuels, and we were talking previously with Jorge.
Yes.
And he was telling us a little bit about eco-fuels. It's, for example, in Formula One, it's really much more expensive.
Yes.
The eco-fuel and it's really difficult to have like 100 times more the price of one fuel than the other one. No? Mm-hmm. How do you see the future? Do you see motorbikes with eco-fuels? Do you see motorbikes, electric motorbikes? How do you see the future?
Well, I see the future now. The reality of the field now is that we are working mainly along 2 axes. One is the eco-fuel. The other one is full electric bikes. And then we have some experimental projects related to full electric motorcycle for endurance, for example, long races formats, and also hydrogen. But this is like more for the future in the coming years. Coming back to the 2 first things, so eco-fuel, the FIM is working actively on the development of the eco-fuel. Since 2024 already, we have enforced what we call the FIM fuel category 1 with minimum 40% of non-fossil components in the formulation of the fuel. And this fuel specification is compulsory in all the MotoGP classes, MotoGP, Moto2, Moto3, World Superbike, World Supersport, Mini GP, and many other FIM circuit racing world championships. So we are working on it. From 2027 on, next year, we're gonna increase this minimum level of non-fossil component from 40% to 100%. So it's a massive step forward, for MotoGP classes. In parallel, the FIM also working on sustainable fuels. So we are working on 2 additional categories. Sustainable, let's say the difference between renewable and sustainable. Renewable, you work on non-fossil sources. Sustainable, you work on the non-fossil sources, but not only, the target is also the reduction of CO2 emission and greenhouse gases reduction. And then we are working on 2 categories. Category 3, fully advanced sustainable fuel, like the FIA has as well with the WEC, for example. And then we are working on the category 4, on the partially advanced sustainable fuel, 33%. Why? Simply for the question of the cost. You know, the FIM president gave this name of eco-fuel. Why? Because in reality, it's always the key point is to find the right balance between ecology, economy, and performances of the fuel. And then that's why we have created this partially advanced sustainable fuel, because we target a cost around 4 or 5 euros a liter. Fully advanced sustainable fuel, we know we are around 9 euros a liter. Today, category 1, for example, in MotoGP, you are in between 5 euros up to 27 euros a liter, depending of the performances of the molecule you put in the fuel. And then 2027, we know already that we're gonna be over 50 euros a liter for the category.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, not bad. So that is the work we are doing now on the eco-fuel. I think clearly the eco-fuel is a concrete and clear alternative to the full electric motorcycles. Why? Because with minor upgrades, you work a little bit on the oil dilution of the bike. Then also on the swelling, so the elastomer, you know, all the rings you use, for example, in the injectors, etc. You have to increase a little bit the quality of this elastomer. But basically, with these minor upgrades, you can use eco-fuel like kind of plug and play in the internal combustion engine motorcycles. So I see it really as an alternative. However, we keep working on the full electric motorcycles. As you know, since 2019, we have the MotoGP program. Unfortunately, and that's joined the previous question you asked me. Unfortunately, racing at the same time on the same racetrack like MotoGP, the MotoE, we didn't catch up the attention of the fans. So meaning that we have no sound or very low sound. We have 8 laps races.
Really short.
Really short. And the reality is that unfortunately we didn't meet the fan. So meaning that the fans, they prefer to do something else than looking MotoE races. So that's why for the moment everything is suspending on the MotoE program. This is for circuit racing. However, we see and we can observe a big push and a big traction about off-road discipline. Off-road discipline, we had already in trial, we have e-motorcycles in trial. We have in 2024, we have the Super Enduro with mixed racing. So mixed racing means electric motorcycle versus internal combustion engine motorcycle at the same time on the same races. Then after we opened last year in Supercross, World Supercross, and this year we open extra categories like Enduro GP, Hard Enduro, ISDE, 6Ds, and also Baja. So it's a big challenge for us. However, you can see that we keep working on different technical solutions, eco-fuel, full electric motorcycle, plus some experimental project, for example, in endurance or land speed world record, speaking about hydrogen and electric motorcycles.
Wow. Really interesting future and really complex too. Really,
absolutely, it's a challenge.
A big variety of possibilities. Favorite 3 riders in MotoGP, Dominique?
Normally, I cannot
this is going to come up.
Yeah.
You knew that. Then.
Let's say I'm very Cartesian, you know, and as FIM I must be totally neutral. However, I see that for 2026 season, I'm sure that Marc Marquez will be in front.
One of the.
When I say in front, in the battle for the title, I saw also a big progression of Aprilia, so I would bet as well a little bit on the Bezzecchi, definitely. And after, I will say, as you can see, you have some talent like Pedro Acosta, super fast, and then hopefully he can be as well consistent during the season. So I would say it's super interesting because you can see that Ducati, for example, Aprilia and KTM, they can fight in front together, and also of course Honda and Yamaha, of course. I'm sure at some events they can fight in front. So this will be, let's say, my top 3. After, you know, everything can happen during the season. So I wish all the best for all riders and give the best on track.
Sure. And after finishing, before finishing, sorry, and we have one question before that, those 3 fast questions that we have. Mm-hmm. And favorite rider of all time for you?
Of all time in circuit racing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Circuit racing. So circuit racing, I would say what Marc Marquez achieved last year season. It's an absolute amazing comeback. Marc went through absolutely crazy dark periods, I would say. And then the fact that he took some strong decision in his life and strategy also of racing life. I admire a lot the people doing it, and finally it pays off for him because to be again MotoGP world champion after so many seasons, unfortunately very difficult for him. Great job, amazing job. And I wish him also all the best for this season. So I will say Marc on it.
Okay. And the three last questions, Dominique, are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
Malaga, we are in Malaga. These 2 days have been quite demanding, and I think for you even more. Malaga by car or by motorbike?
By motorbikes. Even if yesterday it was super rainy.
Okay.
But today motorbikes.
Okay. With an umbrella, with the motorbike and an umbrella. Is motorsport a real laboratory for mobility?
100%. I think the target to have a racing world, I mean FIM, but not only FIM, all the racing federation like FIA as well. We are developing, we are testing, and I think it's the pure laboratory. Racing must be the laboratory for the future of mass production market. And this definitely we must be able to transfer with a certain delay, maybe 2 years, 3 years, all the technology, all the risk we are doing in the racing world. This at some point must be transferred to the public.
And the last one, well, I had like favorite rider for you. I'm gonna change the last one because we have done it previously. A dream to fulfill in the next months within the film. Or something you are really working hard to achieve it, yes, or to have it, or
okay. So of course on this question I would say 2 points. The first one is the safety of the riders. The FIM works very, very hard on the safety of the riders, working on the FRHP. We have a program in the FIM called FRHP, Film Racing Homologation Program. We work very hard on the protective equipment of the rider, because even if we love racing, the reality is that we have to protect the rider and we want everyone safe at the end of the event. So we work hard on developing new and more exigent standard in terms of helmet,
security,
in terms of airbags, in terms of laser suits and so on. So safety of the rider, safety first for me. The second point, the big project coming as well is even if we are working, as you understand, on eco-fuel, on the electric bikes, etc., will be MotoGP 2027. We are working for the past 2 or 3 years with the MotoGP manufacturer to build up the new technical concept of the bikes next year. So it's going to be a new milestone for me personally, and I hope that everyone going to enjoy this new generation of bikes. And so let's see next year. We work very hard, and hopefully we're going to run a smooth transition to the new 2027 MotoGP bikes.
Wow, really cool. So two dreams, really interesting, but really cool too.
Yes.
I think really nice.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much, Dominique. Thanks for being here. Enjoy the last hours of today. And see you soon in a new chapter. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
So we continue here in eMobility, MOW in Malaga. Now we're gonna talk about decarbonization and freight decarbonization, actually, which is a big contributor. And we are with Sam Barendregt. So welcome to Nova Mobilitat, Sam.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
You were at the panel earlier. We will get into digital twin simulation software. And how it and the role it can play for decarbonization. But to start, you're from the US, you live in Prague in the Czech Republic, so tell us a little bit what brought you to Europe and what are you doing?
Absolutely. So how much time do we have here?
It's like 15 minutes, something like that.
Okay. I'll keep it brief then with my background, because it's a story. But essentially, yes, I was born in the US.
Let's try to get like that.
Okay, yeah. Like this. I was born in the U.S. My mom is from the States.
Where in the U.S.?
In Seattle.
Oh, okay.
But my father is from Czech Republic.
Okay.
So I've had half my family over there, half my family here in Europe. I lived there for the first about 23 years of my life. Did a Bachelor of Science at University of Wisconsin-Madison, and then graduated into COVID, 2020. After about a year in Madison, after graduating, I decided to move to the Netherlands for a master's, where I studied urban planning in a small town of Nijmegen. Long story short, I found Smart Freight Center, the current role that I'm in with this company, because of that time there. And then only recently, past year and a half, I've been living in Prague and enjoying it.
Cool. And it's an NGO, right? Like, it's just driven for a more sustainable freight industry. Is the driver, right?
Yes, indeed. So Smart Freight Center, we're a globally active nonprofit based in Amsterdam. And really the goal of all the work that we do is logistics decarbonization. One of the foundational pieces of work that we are continually contributing to is the GLEC framework. So this is an ISO recognized standard for emissions accounting in supply chains across all modes of transportation, and it's a standard for reporting those emissions. So that was like the foundational piece of work Smart Freight Center has brought to the table in the past 5 years, and really ramping up in the last 2. We've been focusing on mode-specific projects for decarbonization. So working in sustainable aviation fuels, clean maritime, etc. The work that I do focuses on road freight transportation solely, and by decarbonization in road freight is battery electric trucks. So we're membership driven, and our goal is to help our members deploy more battery electric trucks to reduce their road freight emissions, essentially.
And so you support them by like doing operational cost simulations for them to say, hey, with the operation you are doing, that would be your cost if you would be like battery electric driven, or like what's kind of the application you offer first of all?
Indeed. So the main application, the main area of our work is in organizing large-scale corridor projects, we call them. So it's deployment projects in certain areas. We have one that we've been running in Poland for about 2 years now, which has seen significant results already. So first trucks are expected on the road this year. Through our partnerships there, we have organized 5 different charging stations across the country. So some significant progress. I'm currently leading a project in Western Europe, as we call it. So Germany, France, Belgium, Netherlands. And then we are launching a Spanish corridor project in a week, actually, which is quite interesting. But maybe to address your question a bit more specifically, the way that this work really comes together is we take our members' demand for battery electric truck in the term of lanes that they share with us and volumes on those lanes and data along those lines. And then indeed we leverage models to tell us what can be transitioned to battery electric trucks from an operational perspective. So the truck technological capabilities, charging station, etc. And then also from a cost perspective or TCO perspective. So modeling where economically these trucks also are viable.
Okay. The Spanish, which one is the Spanish corridor that you mentioned?
So it's a network approach. We're starting in Valencia, but then trying to connect Valencia to Madrid, to Zaragoza, Barcelona. These kind of 4-city cluster there is where we'll start focusing first.
And then in Germany, it's
similar story. I think Corridor Project is a little bit of a outdated name for them, honestly.
It's like a multi-city. Like
Yeah. They're developing much more into network electrification projects. And so it's taking all of this demand that we have. So for example, in those 4 countries of the Western Corridor, we've gathered over 2 million annual shipments from our members. So like large scale of demand. And then we can identify hotspots within that, which makes sense for the deployments.
So the data that the input data that you have for your models is like these 2 million shipments yearly, and then you work on finding ways to optimize and to estimate operational cost with different.
Indeed.
What's the software layer you like? What kind of simulation modeling tools you use for that?
So we do a lot of that work through partnerships that we have in these projects. So partnering with a eMobility company named Pragmacharge in Poland. I use that as an example. So they are very, very experienced with kind of like fleet electrification planning on an individual level.
Okay.
And then it's working to apply that to kind of a consortium level, so across many different companies. So Smart Freight Center is kind of the clearinghouse kind of connector for this work, and then we work with partners that are uniquely positioned in certain areas to deliver those results on the analysis.
Okay. But like it's kind of like so you were earlier you were in the digital twins, but I couldn't attend it, so I were like I was planning to do it, but I couldn't get to it. So what to what level of fidelity do you do of your simulation? So it's like simulating the flow, and how can be like the traffic jams that the truck can find based on statistics in this route, or like what is like the detail level of the model that you
So that is possible, and that can be done on a case-by-case basis. For the perspective that we take in the initiation of these corridor projects, it's a bit higher level than that, not looking at the traffic characteristics. On the other hand, there is opportunity to add in like terrain and elevation to the analysis for battery, so for energy consumption, essentially, in the vehicles and ranges. On Smart Freight Center side as well, we do some very detailed cost modeling of the operational characteristics of these vehicles. And of those 2 million shipments, there are maybe 250,000 lanes there, so A to B,
different kind of
different routes and whatnot, and we are able to provide a cost per kilometer on every single one of those lanes in the analysis.
And this is like charging, but also servicing and
all inclusive there. So working with all of the characteristics that would contribute to a battery electric truck's operational profile.
Okay, what's the outlook like? What are new technologies that might be coming in the space for the next couple of years, or new applications, new like new stuff?
I think that some of the electric trucks we're seeing right now are actually very, very capable. So 600 kilometer ranges, that fits, I don't know, it's some 70% of transportation in Europe under the 600 kilometer range or thereabouts. So they're very capable from that perspective. I think that some things we're learning in these projects is there are a number of areas where battery electric trucks actually make economic sense from the modeling we have done. So either at or below the parity point with diesel trucks. So I think that the outlook now is that large scale kind of deployments of these trucks are becoming more and more possible, and faster than we might think.
This depends a lot on the infrastructure. So
Yes.
do they like the infrastructure institutionals or companies also come to you to say, hey, where is opportunity? Like based on the routes that you have, where is like opportunity to increase infrastructure, and it would have actually a return of investment?
Indeed. So this is another side of the model or the modeling work that we can do is taking the demand that we have and then channeling that to be the question of where should we put charging infrastructure. So charging providers are very interested in working with us or in this project space. In the Western Corridor project, actually, we are partnered with Milence quite closely, and they're a very large CPO in Europe. So these kind of collaborations, I think, are crucial for success.
You've seen in this Congress there is a lot of hydrogen, alternative fuels, all this stuff. This is not something that you are currently covering. You don't?
No. We focus entirely on battery electric.
Do you have an opinion on that, or that you want to share?
I mean, I think that battery electric is the right choice for the future going forward. There was a period of testing the different technologies and whatnot, and I think from an economic perspective, battery electric is winning out currently. I think from a technological perspective as well, it's also winning in that way too.
But there is like a maximum market share that it can afford. Like I mean, if we would like to cover like 50% of the fleet in Europe with electric trucks, we need 1 gigawatt chargers at certain points. Like the infrastructure would need to grow at a rate that is, at least in Europe, maybe not feasible. In China, it could work, but in Europe, it will be tough to get to these levels, right?
It's very true. I think that's one of the very clear challenges that are still kind of ahead, that still doesn't have a great answer to it, is how would the European grid support a wide scale transition to electric freight. Maybe my optimistic perspective on it is, as we see more and more electric trucks being adopted and making business sense, then the grids will catch up. But I'm not sure that's a entirely satisfactory answer. Maybe a bit more optimistic than what we'll see in the reality. But right now, there's enough grid for the amount of trucks that are wanted and deployable.
And now changing completely like the area, but staying on freight. Another area that can bring improvements in operational cost is autonomous trucks.
Yep.
Is this also some area that you will also look into with your models?
It hasn't been yet, but maybe if we do this again in 5 or 10 years, it would be something that we are looking into then. It's true. Some of the economic modeling we've done for electric truck operations show really massive increases or benefits for having drivers correctly trained on driving the electric trucks. So from a range perspective, efficiency perspective,
yeah,
and this is a natural progression of those benefits there.
Last one, looking back to the US, looking back home for you, is the case that like Europe is like much more condensed, like there is higher density on like the cities and so on. So probably electric makes more sense in Europe than in the US because there the distances are longer. Or what are your thoughts on this? It will take longer in the US maybe, or?
I think we're behind in the US in more ways than one. I mean, currently, excuse me, the ranges are definitely part of that, and the distances that the very long transportations have to drive are prohibitive for electric trucks now. However, some of my colleagues are doing very exciting and valuable work in the US, finding areas, hotspots around major cities, California, Chicago, New York, for example, where there is appetite and there is operational ability to bring battery electric trucks at scale. In the US, as compared to in Europe, there is no supportive policy for electric trucks. So it's a purely economic question, which makes the barrier of entry higher than in some European countries.
Got you. So thanks a lot, Sam, for spending some time with us today and bringing some insights on freight decarbonization and the role that software and simulation has there. So have a great rest of the show. And
thank you very much.
Hope we can talk again in a couple of years. And then we
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Welcome to la Nova Mobilitat from the eMobility Expo World Congress in Malaga. We have Roger Bautista from Ficosa. Welcome, Roger.
Welcome.
Could you explain us, please, your role within Ficosa?
Okay, well, I'm part of the Ficosa Mechatronics business unit, which is the merge between eMobility and Command and Control, and focusing on the eMobility, which is part of this Congress. In eMobility, we develop products related to the battery pack, and here we can especially mention battery management systems, which is something we have been doing for a lot of years. Also, battery junction boxes, which can be understood as the protection system from battery packs, and also other kind of sensors or systems related to battery pack monitoring. And finally, for the last years, we have been developing also cell contacting systems, which is the mechanical and electrical integration of the cells inside the modules. And finally, the charge controller of the vehicle from the communication perspective, especially with the new standards, for example, the ISO 15118, and also the variations related to vehicle-to-grid integration.
Great. What do you think, which are the current challenges of battery development on all those
Well, we
topics?
see that the main challenges can be related to the new chemistries that can be integrated in the battery pack, especially to increasing the energy density of the vehicles and increasing the driving range, or at least keeping the degradation, or not increasing the degradation of the battery cells. Then also we see quite trends in the software integration over the vehicles. Especially here we see the software-defined vehicles concept and all the zonal architectures that are being integrated in some vehicles. And here we see a lot of importance in the change of hardware-based platform to software-based platform, are in this interplay between what is done at this low-level hardware and what is done at high-level software.
Great. You have explained, you have talked about the cell connecting systems and also the BMS. Could you explain maybe an example of some product or some project you have been working with?
Yeah, well, in Ficosa eMobility, we develop products for production, but also we are doing different research initiatives. And a good example is the MARBEL project. Now we are in the Eureka stand, and here we have a demonstrator of the battery pack that was developed in the MARBEL project. And Ficosa, in this case, bring up the battery junction box with some important outcomes at that time, which is the integration of aluminum bus bars and also 400 and 800 volts architectures, showing this a modular architecture for all the battery pack. And also, in case of the battery pack, but not work of Ficosa, but in collaboration for the different partners, we have a modular system that easy to disassemble, and together with all the developments in the project, we achieve to improve the LCA of this battery pack.
The LCA?
LCA, the life cycle assessment.
Life cycle assessment, great. So maybe just one last question. What do you think, how is it electromobility going? Do you see more and more projects coming up as long as there are more electric cars being sold? And also regarding more, you said the electric range and also faster charging times, for example?
We see a lot of challenges, especially in the side of research, something that Ficosa is always eager to explore with research centers and other industrial partners in this case. And here in this Expo Mobility Congress is a good place to networking and having new ideas on this. And for us, it's very important to try to increase or boost the customer confidence over the electric vehicles. And with this, as you said, we can include increasing the lifespan of the vehicle, going against this range anxiety. And here it's important to work in thermal runaway management, degradation monitoring, how the cells are integrated, modular system, easy to disassemble systems to ensure this recircularity and maintenance of the battery. So this is mainly what we are working. Also in the protection systems to ensure that can respond easily to any short circuit of the battery pack. Well, that's it.
Great. Thank you, Roger, for your contribution, and have a nice day today here in Expo eMobility Expo World Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So we are in the eMobility in Malaga, and now we have our highlight with us, Carlos Tavares. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you.
We want to discuss with you the current situation of the, let's say, eMobility, is it called, the Congress. So eMobility in the sense of electric mobility, which is one of the main solutions, let's say, for sustainable mobility. We have seen in the last years that Europe is struggling with the volumes, with the figures, and there's like a claim that eMobility is still too expensive. What can the manufacturers in Europe, in general speaking, what can they do? We have been seeing also some announcements that there will be this a little bit more affordable. Do you think is it possible, European electric manufacturers?
Well, thank you for asking this important question. I think there was a big problem of governance in the European Union about the way all of this was decided. This problem of governance is now visible in terms of consequences on the fact that indeed electric mobility is too expensive for the middle classes. And of course, as a democratic free country we are, we cannot accept that mobility is reduced for the middle classes because it's too expensive. So indeed, the EU leadership forgot what everybody was telling them when they made the decision, which is that e-mobility has been so far 40 to 50% more expensive than conventional mobility. And that's the problem. The problem to be solved is the problem of cost of mobility. And of course, we do not accept that middle classes are prevented from being mobile just because the mobility is clean but too expensive. That's the problem to be solved. Now, there are a lot of solutions, and here in the world of mobility, we have been discussing many solutions. This is not a problem without solutions. This is a problem about how do we help the European Union governance to step out from this decision without losing too much their face. They will lose their face in a way or another, but how can we help them to change the direction and be more pragmatic and less dogmatic, be more realistic, connected to the reality of the lifestyle of the people and mostly the middle class people. And we have been discussing many solutions here, and they are solutions. That's not the problem. It's more about how do you find a way for the EU leadership to step out of the current very, very dogmatic path in which they put themselves alone. Problem.
So we're talking about the electric mobility as one of the solutions. You were explaining now about the EU and the decision to ban the combustion engines after 2035. There was a change of mind, let's say, end of last year. So there is a little bit opening, and without losing this phase. Is that something what you think it's getting better now?
Well, it is. It's quite surprising. Yes, there was some discussions about eventually going from 100% zero-emission vehicle sales in 2035 down to 90%. Actually, I think that this direction is a lose-lose-lose.
Okay.
I think it's very bad, and I will explain you why. But I want to be positive and tell you there are solutions, very easy solutions. They already exist. But in this situation, the EU is trying to fix a problem while creating another problem. There is always a side effect of what they try to decide because they are disconnected from reality. So why is this direction a lose-lose-lose? For the planet, whatever you do to postpone the zero-emission ramp-up is of course negative for the planet. So whatever you do to postpone is a negative for the planet. So it's a lose for the planet. If you talk about the European Union governance, it is also a lose because they have to change the decision they have already made. They are already very weak. So each time they lose their face, they become weaker. That's not good for the quality of the governance and the leadership of Europe. So it's a lose. And for the OEMs, yes, instead of selling 100% of cars electric, you only have to sell 90%. Well, from an investment and technology and validation standpoint, it's the same. 90 or 100% is the same thing. But in addition, you have to keep carrying the validation and the development of other technologies. So it's more complexity, it's more cost. So it's a lose for the OEMs. So everybody is losing. And of course, it has been crafted in terms of communication as, yes, we become realistic, etc. Well, that's not at all true. This is a new decision trying to correct a mistake that creates other side effects. And each time they do so, they are creating more and more problems, more and more chaos. And that's a problem for us Europeans. So the solution is very simple. The first thing we have to admit is that we need to keep regulations technology neutral, to use the power of our technicians and engineers to find the best solution for the planet, the people, and the society, which is the best impact for the planet, keeping mobility affordable, and making sure that at the end of the day we can manage the transition. The solution is very easy. We have to drop the dogmatic thinking about we don't want any more internal combustion engines, because they can be very efficient. If they are used in a mild hybrid solution, you can easily say, well, let's take back clunkers. We have 1.6 billion cars with internal combustion engines in operations on the planet. Right? So what do you do with those? What do we do with 1.6 billion cars? Well, there is no answer to this question. So what we think we should be doing is give us back the clunkers with more than 20 years of age. Most probably those cars with an internal combustion engine are above 300 grams per kilometer of CO2 emissions. And I will give you a trade-in subsidy for those clunkers. With that trade-in subsidy, let's say 2,000 euros, you buy a modern mild hybrid, which is less than 100 grams. So you replace a 300 grams plus vehicle by a 100 grams less low vehicle. And with a subsidy of 2,000 for the clunker in the trade-in, and with that money, the middle class can buy a mild hybrid, no problem. And it is 1/3 of the emissions of the clunker. So you are going to impact positively the planet. You are protecting affordability, because mild hybrid is something the middle class can buy. And while you do this, you just consider that EVs for the time being are excellent mobility tools for commuting. So downtown and suburban areas for the commuting, because it's quiet. It has a very nice takeoff acceleration. It's very agile. The handling is very nice because the height of the center of gravity is very low, because the batteries are below the floor. So it's a very nice tool for the mobility in the urban areas. And for those EVs in urban areas, you make free toll, free parking, free charge. And you let the EV ramp up in urban areas on its own merit, which is very silent, very agile, and very clean. And that's good. So you let the EV ramp up as the commuting car, the commuter car for urban areas, but you have to offer free parking, free toll, and free charging. And you allow everybody, the middle class, to buy less than 100 grams per kilometer of CO2 emission cars at a price which is below 20,000 euros. And with that car, you have all the autonomy you want. You can drive your family, because most probably you have more than 130 kilowatts or even 150 kilowatts of power. That's far enough for the family use. And by combining the two, you are finding the most affordable solution for the societies in terms of cost. You are taking care of the problem of the clunkers. You are bringing a clean solution for the middle classes. And you ramp up the EV technology with more time for the commuters. And by doing that, you have found a solution which is a very pragmatic. This is not rocket science. And that's the problem. It
Sounds easy, yeah?
It sounds simple, right?
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. And why are we stuck? We are stuck because of dogmatism. Nothing more. We are just dogmatic. Step back. Let the guys do the job. Just give an objective in terms of overall average fuel economy number. Force the OEMs to go down progressively, but let them breathe and let them find the right solutions so that it doesn't cost so much to the society.
Sounds very reasonable. Talking about governance and competitiveness, China has had a plan, very strategic, to be leading the supply chain for electric cars, and this has worked for them. They are very competitive, and the prices in China for EVs have went down significantly, and now they're also coming to Europe and other regions in the world. We see that, for example, the US, their reaction to that is impose high tariffs to protect the local OEMs. Europe has been moving between increasing tariffs or actually dealing with them, because actually Europe depends a lot from the export of their own cars. So if you just put tariffs to these cars, at some point you will not be competitive in the other parts of the world. So from your point of view, what do you think is the good recept for this, for the European OEMs and for the European industry on this?
Well, the answer that eventually can give you is not an answer that will like, but that's okay. That's okay. That's
what I'm looking for, actually.
that's okay. This is a free country, a free region, and we accept different opinions.
Absolutely.
So the point is very simple. What you are saying about automotive industry is actually not an automotive industry problem. It is the problem of a European society which has created what we call the social model that is so expensive that structurally you cannot be competitive with the social model of China. You see it on the automotive world, but you can see it on other manufactured goods also than just the automotive world. So we have a problem, a dual problem in Europe, which is our society model is not competitive against the rest of the world, and it's now very visible. And at the same time, our competitors, Asian and China, are using their 30% cost competitive edge to expand their exports because they need to be using their capacities that they have already invested. So, in fact, we have to answer two questions. The first question for the Europeans is, do you want to compete? The question is, you guys, you the Europeans, you want to compete. You want to race. If you want to race, then race hard. It's not going to be easy, but you can try to race. So are we a competitive region of the world, or are we becoming a lazy region of the world? Do we want to compete with China, or we don't want to compete? Now, everybody would say, but they have subsidies and it's unfair competition, blah, blah, blah. That's not true. They have their kind of subsidies. We have our kinds of subsidies. We have different kinds of subsidies, but they have theirs. At the end of the day, this is still an open world, and I understand that Europe wants to keep it reasonably open, even though we have been very naive. But so the first question is, do we want to compete? And what I have observed in the automotive industry in Spain is that there are competitive people in Spain. They want to compete. But competing is hard. Competing may mean more hard work.
Suffering a bit, huh?
Yeah, it's like if you want to be champion in sports, the training is not necessarily very, very easy, right? You are going to suffer during the trainings, right? Yeah, you may suffer if you are very competitive in soccer or basketball.
Absolutely.
Or athleticism, whatever it is. If you want to train hard to become a champion, you may suffer during the trainings. This is the same. So we have to decide, the Europeans, if you want to compete or you don't want to compete. And then the second thing is, yes, the guys are doing a better job than we are. We may need a transient protection if we are sincere about ramping up our competitive spirit, so that we don't get killed immediately by the gap of competitiveness. But what we are seeing, this gap of competitiveness, is what triggered the tariffs of the United States of America. The United States of America is a place that is uncompetitive for manufactured goods. They are very competitive for digital. That's fine, they are the best of the world. But for the manufactured goods, they are uncompetitive in cost and quality. So as they are uncompetitive, they are trying to protect themselves from imports with the tariffs, because they just can't export. So our question is the same. How do we become naturally competitive for exports instead of being, of course, just accepting that we need to have tariffs forever, and the tariffs, as you said, always have side effects which are negative. So at the end of the day, the question is, do we want to compete?
Do we really want, and then strategize again on that? Really, last one, which is about autonomous vehicles. We have seen, again, US and China very competitive with autonomous vehicles. Now it seems that it starts to come to Europe. Do you think Europe can have a position in automotive vehicles supply chain based on our strengths?
It depends on one single factor. Again, maybe controversial. I was discussing with one of the people here in this World of Mobility conference, showing one vertical takeoff and vertical landing aircraft. Mm-hmm. And I know that it is difficult to certify this kind of aircraft. I was asking him, how many years do you need to certify this vertical landing and a vertical takeoff airplane, which is already homologated in China? And the answer was 5 years. So autonomous vehicle is the same. Do you think that with the current structure of our governance, with the political leaders that have lost the control of their administrations, do you think that we can certify
To get the regulatory framework.
autonomous vehicles in a reasonable time that will not impact our ability to race? Because if we take 5 years to just certify, then how can you race?
Is the next
Technology is
platform.
ready, no? The technology
So
is
imagine
already-
you are on the grid and all the other guys start the race and your administration says, no, you stay here for 3 laps and you'll start racing in 3 laps when I will have certified you.
You have all the paperwork, but you have lost already.
So that's the problem. And we have a big issue in Europe, very big issue, which is political leaders that we can easily criticize. I don't, because we need them. They have lost control of the administrations. And the administrations have the power of creating bureaucracy, the power of putting stamps, the power which we did not give them to just say, yeah, you know we don't. That's not exactly true. That's not exactly true. And as long as the political leaders are accepting the idea that they have no control on the administrations, we will be kept on the ground while all the other guys will be flying. And that's a problem for us.
Really, really interesting. Thanks a lot, Carlos.
My
for
pleasure.
Coming, giving your insights. Have a great rest of the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's all, folks, from eMobility Expo World Congress 2026 in Malaga. That was incredible. Too many informations, too many interviews, or not too many, but a lot of huge speakers, which we have been interviewing here from electromobility, but also from motorsport. Luis, that's your topic. I think you have had several good interviews, no?
Yeah, it's been really, really interesting. Because, we have had the opportunity to talk with some amazing people within the motorsport world, even from the people who work from behind. You know, you see the cars, you see the motorbikes, you see the riders, you see the drivers, but then you don't see the background of these people, and it's been really interesting to know about safety, about next generations of motorcycles, of cars, of Formula E. It's been really, really amazing, really amazing.
What about you, Mikael? What did you learn this time?
So decarbonization. At least I learned the word, I guess. Yeah, I mean, about how we can use software to optimize freight, to enable companies to make the transition to a more sustainable.
To electrification.
Like in this case, it was to electrification. And then also about logistics automation, about how cities are dealing with this from the space perspective, from energy grid perspective, and then Carlos Tavares. So we were thinking, is he going to come or not? It was like he was not making it here, but finally
Waiting for Carlos.
you found him outside. You brought him with us. I think it was really interesting what he said, and the view he gave us. And yeah, to me it was really great show. So we got a lot of good speakers to interpret those insights. What do you think, Martin?
Yeah, it was great. Let's say another great eMobility Expo World Congress, where we have been seeing not only that electrification is one of the solutions, but at the end, I think a sum of several technologies, including maybe hydrogen, maybe synthetic fuels, maybe biofuels. I don't know. There's a lot of several combination of these energies in order to have a sustainable but also affordable mobility by car, by ship, by flights, by air. So we, at the end, we need all, not one solution, but several solutions which it can be applied to any applications in each time. No? And that's all from my side. from our side, thank you very much for hearing us and for seeing us, for watching, and just keep tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Bye-bye.